Okay, now that we got most of our design configured, we can go and add some objects to make our landscape look a bit more realistic. So if you go ahead and select your Create Conceptual Design features, you've got a few different buttons here. You can add in some different types of features, whatever you like that's listed here. Uh, for instance, if we want to add in some water bodies, we can go ahead and click water areas, and it'll ask us to add in a couple of different types there. One has a little edge around it and the other one doesn't. If you go ahead and click one of those, find a spot where you want to add some water, just go ahead and select vertices for a polygon as far as where you want your water to occur. Double click the left mouse button, that'll end the sketch, and if you hit escape a couple of times, you can then exit out of there. And note that you can add in different types of styles to your water body as well. So if you come into your style palette, if you don't have that up, you can go back to your create button and then turn on your style palette, and in your style palette you can go into the coverage areas, or sorry, the material section, and they'll have a folder there called water. In there will be a few different types of waters. You can just drag and drop that on top of your surface and regenerate that, and that will show you some different styles there. And if you zoom in there, you can kind of see the water rippling. That can have to do with your sun and shade effect. So if you need to edit any of these vertices, what you can do is go ahead and select that water body, and then just go ahead and drag your vertices in wherever you like. If you want to add in more square edges, you can just right click and add in an additional vertice, or as many as you like, and then you can pretty much create any kind of shape that you so desire. And when you're done, you can just hit escape, and you should be good to go for. You can also add in all kinds of other features, such as fire hydrants, street poles, anything you like. But if we come back into our create conceptual design, we can use the city furniture is a pretty popular one. If I click city furniture from the list there, it'll bring up some different options in which I can select any type that I feel appropriate. So for instance, if I scroll through here, maybe I want to put a house on one of my lots. If I can go ahead and select that object, and it'll ask me to select a polygon to represent a parcel footprint of where my house will be created. So I'm just going to trace out a little polygon there, and then double click when I'm finished, when I tie that in together. And what you'll see is I'll have a few different houses there listed, but if I go ahead and I can delete some of them if I want, uh, and once I've got my one house on there, I can rotate it if I like by picking one of those corner edges, or I can use my green button to move it up and down if I like, or my red button to move it back and forth. So what I can do now is I can turn this little slider to the feature density to show only one object if I had more than one on there from before. But once I get that house orientated, it looks a little bit big on my surface. So what I can do, if I select that and bring up my properties box down here, if you don't see your properties box, you can come back to your create and manage button, and go ahead and turn on your properties box there. That'll pop that on. Select your object, and then if you scroll down, you'll have some scale options here. So maybe I want to make that half as big, so I can type in 0.5 in the X, and as well as 0.5 in the Y, and that'll scale that down to any size you like. And also notice you can edit the height as well. So if I position that house over top of my lot, I can select my little blue arrow button, and I can change the height of that house any size that I like. So once you've got that house on there, if you want to create other houses, you can just do a select it, Control C, and then do a Control V and place that house somewhere else, and double click and place that house on the lot, and then move it to its desired location. So that's how we can place houses. You can do other things as well. If you go back to your create style button there as well, I can click city furniture. I've got other things in there. I can change things such as adding in people. We've got fire hydrants and mailboxes and street lights, so that we can all add in any kind of signage if we like as well. And just give that a double click, and the same thing goes for these objects here. Once I hit escape, I can then go into an edit mode and change the position or the location of any of those objects. I can also do things like change the shadow heights and things like that by clicking my create and conduct infrastructure design presentations. If I click that button here, I've got some other options. For instance, sun and sky. If I want to change the sun angle, I can change the time of day, which will edit my shadows. Wind speed and direction, if you want to change the clouds as well in the sky. You can change the wind speed as well. And also, if you close this down, you can go into the visual effects button, and you can change things like the brightness of the model, or the contrast, light intensity, that kinds of thing. So remember that all these options are available for you for the style editor. You can do all kinds of things, creating new roads if you wanted to. So if I wanted to create a lane along this back way, I could create a lane, or I could do a coverage area along this section here and style it the same way as my roads if I like. But all these objects here are available for you to see. If you'd like to take a look at them, you might want to bring up your Model Explorer. And if I go ahead and click my Create and Manage Model button, I can bring up the Model Explorer, and here it'll show me all my different layers in which I can selectively select or turn off or filter, that kind of thing. So here, if I wanted to turn off, for instance, all my city furniture like buildings, I can go ahead and turn those on and off by clicking the light bulb. Alright, thank you.